You've probably heard a ton about artificial intelligence lately, right? Ever since ChatGPT exploded onto the scene, it feels like it's everywhere. But what about the places we don't always see, like inside our bank accounts, our loan applications, our investments? Well, a new report from the Government Accountability Office digs into exactly that, and it's fascinating. So let's get into it. So let me ask you a question. Is an algorithm deciding your next loan? It sounds a little bit like science fiction, but the answer is yeah, increasingly it is. From the moment you apply for a credit card to how your bank flags a weird transaction, AI is humming away quietly behind the scenes. This isn't some far-off concept anymore. It's the new reality of banking. And these systems are making critical decisions about your financial life, right now. Okay, so where exactly is all this technology hiding? It's not just one thing. AI has woven itself into the very fabric of the financial industry. Let's break down some of the most common places you'll find it working. What's really striking here is just how widespread this is. I mean, you've probably talked to an AI chatbot for customer service, right? Maybe to check your balance or ask a simple question. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the curtain, there's so much more going on. You have complex models digging through tons of data to decide if you're a good credit risk, systems scanning transactions in real time to stop fraud, and even AI is executing massive stock trades. And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. For every incredible benefit that AI offers in finance, there's a potential risk lurking in the code. It really is a classic double-edged sword, and you absolutely have to understand both sides of it. So let's start with the promise, because the benefits here are pretty powerful. AI is making financial services cheaper for everyone. Think about robo-advisors that cut down on investment fees. That's huge. It's also helping more people get into the system. You know, folks with a thin credit file who can now get a loan because AI can look at other things like rent payments. And of course, everything just gets faster and more secure. But then you flip the coin and you see the peril. The very same AI that's making credit decisions could actually bake in and even amplify old biases, leading to unfair outcomes for some people. All the data that AI needs to work creates massive privacy risks, and the tech itself opens up new doors for cyber attacks, not to mention that bizarre problem of AI hallucinations, where the system just confidently makes things up. This right here is the core conflict in a nutshell. On one hand, you have this incredible goal. Use AI to help people who've been left out of the traditional financial system. One provider actually reported a 40% jump in approvals for women and people of color. Amazing, right? But the risk is that these super complex models could inadvertently learn biases from the data and then scale those unfair outcomes across the whole system. This brings us to a really crucial idea: explainability. See, by law, if a bank turns you down for a loan, they have to tell you why. But what happens when the decision was made by a complex AI model that no single human really understands? That's the problem. We call it the black box problem. If you can't see why an AI made a certain choice, how can you possibly check it for fairness or bias or even just a simple mistake? So this all leads to a huge question. Who is policing this new frontier? With so much on the line, how are the government watchdogs making sure these powerful algorithms are being used safely and fairly? Well, the main strategy right now isn't to create a bunch of new AI laws. What regulators are doing is applying the laws we already have to this new technology. The logic is pretty simple. Rules about fair lending or against market manipulation, they still apply whether the decision was made by a person with a pen or a sophisticated AI. The rules are about the final outcome, not the tool that was used. And get this, here's a really interesting twist. Regulators are fighting fire with fire. Agencies like the SEC and the Federal Reserve are now using AI themselves. They're using it to sift through mountains of data to spot potential insider trading, to analyze risks across the entire banking system, basically making their own oversight work a whole lot better. But, and this is a big but, the government's report uncovered a critical problem, a potential blind spot in this whole new world of oversight, and it's one that affects millions of Americans who are members of credit unions. Okay, here's the issue the report found. The regulators for the big banks, like the FDIC and the Fed, they have this really important power. They can go in and directly examine the tech companies that sell AI products to those banks. But the regulator for credit unions, the NCUA, does not have that same authority. And this is a big deal because credit unions often rely really heavily on these outside vendors for their tech. So why does this matter to you? Well, it means if you're one of the millions of people who uses a credit union, the AI systems making decisions about your loans or your accounts might come from a third-party company that the federal regulator is legally not allowed to inspect.
It's a pretty significant gap in the financial safety net.
To fix this, the GAO laid out a really clear two-step plan. First, the NCUA needs to update its own rules and guidance for credit unions on how to handle AI risks. And second, Congress should give the NCUA the legal authority it needs to examine these third-party tech vendors. Basically, close the loophole and put them on the same playing field as the bank regulators.
And that leaves us with the big, lingering question. AI isn't some futuristic idea anymore. It is here, and it's already becoming the backbone of modern finance. It has all this incredible promise to make things more efficient, more inclusive, and more secure. But it also carries these huge risks. The real challenge for all of us is to make sure that as this powerful technology keeps evolving, our rules and our safeguards are evolving right along with it.